Welcome students. So today we are going to see the IO programming. Okay, actually in this session we are going to study IO programming. In our last session we have studied minimum mode operations and the maximum mode operations, minimum mode configurations and the maximum mode configuration, that is a system design. Okay, so next we are going into programming side. So how to program IO, then what are the methods we are using to program IO. Okay, then we are going to see one small animation video of the IO operations. Okay, right? Okay, let us enter into video.
U.com.
Okay, so the objectives. So today we are going to study IO programming. So the IO programming is mainly used to discuss the ways in which the information can be transferred between input, output devices, mass storage devices, and CPU and memory. Okay, right? So these are the things we are going to study today. Okay, how the microprocessor transfer the information between input side, output side, CPU and memory, okay, and mass storage devices. Okay, so this is a IO programming. Here we are using three different methods. Let us see. So first type is the programmed IO, second type is interrupt driven IO, and third one is DMA transfer. Okay, so these three methods are used to transfer the data between processor, memory and IO. Okay, right. First we want to see programmed IO. So what is programmed IO? What is program? So the IO is programmable. So we can program the IO. So as per our requirement, we can program the input device and output device. Okay, that is a programmable IO. So programmable IO is one of the IO technique other than the interrupt driven and direct memory access. Okay, so the programmed IO was the most simple type of IO technique for exchanging the data of any type of communication between processor and the external device. Okay, so it is a very simple method. By using this simple method, we can transfer the data between processor and other devices. Okay, right? So it is very simple method. Okay, let us see how it is simple. So with programmed IO, the data can be exchanged between the processor and IO module. The processor execute program that gives direct control of IO operation. So why we are saying this is programmed IO? Because we are executing the program. That program direct the control of IO operation. Okay, including sensing the device status, sending a read or write command, and transferring data. So the program doing three operations. First one, sensing the device status, whether the device is ready or not, it is ready to transmit or ready to receive, etc. Okay, and sending read write command. If the device is ready, then the program send read or write command. Okay, then after that, after applying the command, the data transfer takes place. Okay, right. This is a programmed IO. When the processor issues a command to IO module, it must wait until the operation is complete. Okay, so the processor wait until the operation is complete. Suppose the processor issue and command to IO module. Okay, for example, one processor issue and command to IO module, then the processor wait up to the IO module complete its operation. Okay, if the processor is faster than IO module, this is wasteful of processor time. Suppose IO module is very slow, okay, and processor is very fast, then the processor must wait long time up to the IO module complete its operation. Okay, so that the processor time is waste. Okay, processor is simply sitting, okay, without doing any execution. Okay, so the overall operation of the programmed IO can be summarized as follows. So suppose the processor time is waiting. At the time the processor cannot do any other operations, it is wait up to the IO complete its operation. Okay, so this is programmed IO. So the processor is executing a program and encounter an instruction releasing to IO operations. So programmed IO means we are programming the IO, so to perform the read and write operations. So the processor executing one program and encounter some instruction releasing to IO. The processor then execute the instruction by issuing command to the appropriate IO module. Okay, so the processor execute the instructions by issuing command, that means read, write, like that, to appropriate IO module. The IO module will perform the request action based on the command issued by the processor. Okay, so processor command the IO module such as read or write, then IO module perform the request action, okay, based on the IO command issued by the processor, and set the appropriate bits in IO status register. IO status register means whether the IO device is ready or it is busy or not, like that. Okay, then the processor will periodically check the status of the IO module until it find that the operation is complete or not. Okay, right. Simply we can say that the processor issue the command to IO device, then IO device receive the command, that is read or write. The command is read or write. Okay, then IO device perform the read and write operation. At the time it will put the status in status register. The processor simply sitting and checking the status of the IO device, whether the process is completed or not. Okay, right. So after completing the process, the processor will do other work. Otherwise the processor only simply sitting and checking the IO operation process whether it is completed or not. So this process is wasteful of time. So this is a block diagram that indicates data read operation by the CPU. Okay, so the CPU or the processor executes the program. Okay, right. The first is here this is a program. The processor executes the program. The program tells what read status bit and test whether the device is ready with the data. First stage is the processor read the status bit of the device, and test whether the device is ready with the data. Okay, so here the processor is going to read the data from IO. So before read the data, the processor check the IO device is ready or not and it has data or not. Okay, suppose the IO device is yes, we are ready, telling to the processor. Okay, now the processor is read the bytes. Okay, now the processor is read the bytes. It's a second operation. Then after reading, the processor again check test more byte to be read or not. Okay, the processor read the byte, so it's reading the every bytes and check whether the more bytes are need to read or not. Okay, suppose more bytes are available in IO device, so it is yes, the command is yes, then it is continue 1 2 3 again. Okay, this process is continue again. Suppose there is no byte to read again, then what will happen? So no, then the processor next step of the program, the processor enter into next step of, this is not P, this is O, next step of the program. Okay, right. So this is a one cycle, right. Then here if the IO device is not ready, okay, so here if the IO device is ready, then it will read the data and test more bytes. If the bytes is available, then again it read the data. If bytes not available, then the processor enter into next program. Suppose the processor device is not ready, and the IO device is not ready, input not ready, then what will happen? Wait for the period and check the input device continuously whether the device is ready or not. Okay, so here is the wasteful of time. Okay, so this is a read operation of programming IO. Next one. So the summarized point here, each input is read after first testing the device is ready with input or not. Okay, the program wait for ready status by repeatedly testing the status bit, okay, till the targeted bytes are read from the input device. The program is in busy, not non-waiting state. Only after the device gets ready is it wait state. Okay, right? So if the device is not ready, the processor enter into wait state. So that is a wasteful of time. Next one is a write command. Program IO mode output data transfer. That means data write operation. Here the same block diagram. The only one difference is here we are consider the write bytes. Okay, right. Then the program tells first read status bit of the test status bit and test whether the device is ready or not. Okay, so the program initially check the device is ready or not. Okay, right. If the device is ready, that is yes, then the processor write the byte to the device. Okay, then after the writing the bytes, then again it test more byte to be written. If yes, more byte is the processor want to write in IO device, so again this process is continuous, 1 2 3 is continuous again. If no, the write process is completed, then the processor enter into next step of the program. Okay, right. This is one cycle. If the input device is not ready, that means the output buffer not full. Okay, the output buffer is not full, then wait for the period and up to the out in IO device is ready. Okay, right. So here the data write operations. Okay, so the buffer is not full means the processor enter into wait state. Okay, so this is the IO program. IO program is we are performing the data transfer through IO by using program. So that is a programmed IO. Okay, right. Next one, the summarized point of above block diagram. Okay, right. So each output written after testing that the device is ready to accept the byte and its output register or output buffer is empty. The program wait for ready status by repeatedly testing the status bit and till all the targeted bytes are written into device. The program in busy state only after device get ready is wait state. Okay, so this is a IO programming. Okay, then here we are going to find the difference between isolated IO and memory mapped IO. Isolated IO means separated IO. So in isolated IO use separate memory space, but the memory mapped IO use memory from main memory. Okay, the memory mapped IO use memory from the main memory. Limited instruction can be used, those in out, ins outs instructions. Any instruction which reference to memory can be used. The address for isolated IO device is called port. Memory mapped IO device are treated as memory location on the memory map. This is an important 2-mark question. Memory mapping and IO mapping or isolated IO. Okay, right. Next one, the advantage of programmed IO. So simple to implement. It is very easy to implement the programming IO. Very little hardware support. Okay, that is advantage. But disadvantage is busy waiting is a disadvantage. Okay, so the processor time is wasting most of the time. Ties up CPU for long period with no useful work, that is a wasteful of CPU performance. Okay, this is a disadvantage of IO programming. Next one is interrupt driven IO. Okay. What is interrupt? Already we are studied in our first unit. Interrupt in the sense that is a disturbance. Disturbance means it stop the current operation of the microprocessor and execute the interrupt service routine. After the completion of interrupt service routine, the microprocessor continue the previous operation. Okay, this is a interrupt. Interrupt driven IO is an alternative scheme dealing with IO. Interrupt IO is a way of controlling input output activity whereby a peripheral or terminal that need to make or receive the data transfer sent in a signal. This will cause the program interrupt to be set at the time of appropriate to priority level of the IO interrupt. The relative to the total interrupt system, the processor enter into interrupt service routine. Okay, right. So interrupt driven IO is second method of dealing IO for data transfer. Okay, here see one flow chart. So the microcontroller or the system hardware generate the interrupt. Okay, the processor finish the execution of current instruction, then the processor signal acknowledge the interrupt request. Okay, initially in the external device request the interrupt, so the processor finish the current execution. After the current execution, it will acknowledge the interrupt. Then processor push PSW and PC onto control stack. Push PSW, what is PSW? Program status word, and PC means program counter. Both are pushed into stack. Then processor load new PC value based on the interrupt service routine. Okay, see what happened? Nothing is happened here. So the processor executing one program. At the time the interrupt is occurred from the input device. Okay, so the processor execute current process and acknowledge the interrupt. After the acknowledge, the processor program status word and the program counter are pushed into stack. Okay, after that the processor load new PC value based on the interrupt. Okay, then save the remainder of the processor state information that is in the stack, then process the interrupt, that means execute the interrupt, then restore the processor state information, then restore the old PSW and the PC. Okay, right. So simply we can say that by using one simple example. So if you are watching video in your mobile phone, already I told this example. Okay, at the time one incoming call is coming, so your mobile phone stop the video what you are watching. Okay, and it display the incoming call and it ring the tune. Okay, then you do two option. One, you can attend the call or you can reject the call. Okay, so if you attend the call, then the processor, that means the mobile phone process the call. Okay, otherwise you can reject the call, means the process stop the call and again it play the video. So this is a interrupt. Here the interrupt is incoming call, then current process is video processing. The device process the video. Okay, when the interrupt is coming, the device stop its current process and it is execute the incoming call. After that, after the completion of the incoming call, it will execute the previous operation, that is video processing. Then it will process or play the video continuously in previous level. Okay, so this is the interrupt. Okay, right. So here the interrupt is handled by three methods. Okay, right. First one is software poll. Okay, we will see one by one. Okay, the interrupt is handled by three methods. The first one is software polling. Okay, so we are consider what is polling. Polling means voting. Okay, we are putting the vote. Okay, that is a polling, right? So the software poll means what will happen here? Okay, just simply we can say that. So many devices are connected with the processor. Okay, then the interrupt is coming from any one of the IO device. Then the processor don't know the interrupt is coming from which device. Then to detect the interrupt, which device produce the interrupt, to detect that which device is produce the interrupt, the processor poll the some acknowledge message or any other message to all the device. Okay, and it wait for the reply from IO device. If the particular IO device which generate the interrupt is reply to the processor, so that interrupt is myself. Okay, after that the processor execute the interrupt. This is a software poll. So simple சொல்ல போனா நிறைய டிவைஸ் வந்து மைக்ரோ ப்ராசஸர் கூட கனெக்ட் ஆகிருக்குது. அதில் ஏதாவது ஒரு டிவைஸ் வந்து இன்ட்ரப்ட் வந்து ஜென்ரேட் பண்ணுது, அது மீன் இன்ட்ரப்ட் ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணுது. ஓகே, ஆனால் மைக்ரோ ப்ராசஸருக்கு எந்த டிவைஸ் இன்ட்ரப்ட் ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கு அப்படிங்கிறது தெரியாது. ஓகே, ஸோ அதை ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணுறதுக்காக இது வந்து ஒரு போல் வந்து பண்ணும். இந்த மொபைல் சாஃப்ட்வேர் மைக்ரோ ப்ராசஸர் poll all the device, okay, by using one different signal, okay, or address or ID, okay, etc. right? So எல்லா டிவைஸுக்கும் இதை அனுப்போம். அதில் எந்த டிவைஸ் வந்து அந்த இதை அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிவிட்டு ரிப்ளை அனுப்புதோ அந்த டிவைஸுக்கு இது இன்டரப்டை ப்ராசஸ் பண்ணும். இதுதான் வந்து சாஃப்ட்வேர் போல். okay, right? So read this passage. Whenever an interrupt is detected by the processor, it branches to an interrupt service routine which will poll each and every IO module to determine exact interrupting module. So interrupt request ஆச்சுன்னா என்ன நடக்கும்? The microprocessor stop its current operation and it enter into interrupt service routine, and which will poll each and every IO module to determine exact interrupting module. So exact interrupting module கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதுக்கு இது வந்து poll பண்ணுது. The processor raise a poll which could be in the form of command line. Okay, how it poll the device? By using command line. Consequently, the address of the respective IO module which is interrupted by the poll will placed on the address line. Okay, ஸோ எந்த டிவைஸ் இன்டரப்டை ஜென்ரேட் பண்ணிச்சதோ, இன்டரப்ட் ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணிச்சதோ அந்த டிவைஸோட அட்ரஸை வந்து அட்ரஸ் லைனில் இது அதை லோட் பண்ணுவாங்க. தென் the module will respond, and if the response is sitting in the interrupt. On the other hand, every IO module has an addressable status register. So the register can be read by the processor to determine the interrupting module. After that, the processor is then branches to the specific device subroutine, then execute the interrupt and terminate the interrupt operations. Okay, right? So this is a polling method. Polling method is also very slowest method. It is a time consuming process. Okay, so polling method is the processor spend more time in finding which device generate the interrupt request. Okay, so this is a polling method. Next one is a daisy chaining method or hardware polling method. Okay, right? So this is actually hardware poll. Okay, the interrupt acknowledge line is daisy chained to all the module. Okay, for example, whenever there is an interrupt, the processor send out the interrupt acknowledge which will propagate through series of IO module. Okay, for example, if you are having a 3 IO module in your processor, the processor contains 3 IO module. So in that 3, anyone generate interrupt request or interrupt, at the time the processor generate interrupt acknowledge and send it to all the IO module in chain action. Okay, so the IO the interrupt request the interrupt acknowledge is propagate through the series of all the IO module. Okay, this process will continue until reaches a requesting model. Okay, so இந்த மெத்தடில் வந்து ப்ராசஸர் கூட நிறைய IO டிவைஸ் கனெக்ட் பண்ணியிருக்குது. ஸோ ஏதாவது ஒரு IO டிவைஸ் வந்து இன்டரப்ட் ரெக்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணுது. ஸோ அந்த ரெக்வெஸ்ட்டுக்கு மைக்ரோ ப்ராசஸர் அக்னாலஜ் பண்ணுது. எப்படி அக்னாலஜ் பண்ணுதுன்னா, ஸோ அந்த அக்னாலஜ் மெசேஜை வந்து அந்த ஐஓ டிவைசஸ்க்கு வந்து சென்ட் பண்ணுது. அது எப்படி ப்ராபகேட் ஆகுதுன்னா, சீரியஸ் ஃபார்மில் ப்ராபகேட் ஆகுது. ஃபஸ்ட்டு டிவைஸ்க்கு ஃபஸ்ட்டு போகும், அது வந்து இதனுடைய இன்டரப்ட் இல்லைன்னு சொன்னோன்னே அந்த ஃபஸ்ட்டு டிவைஸ் செகண்ட் டிவைஸுக்கு அதை ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணும். தென் செகண்ட் டிவைஸ் அந்த அக்னாலஜை ரிசீவ் பண்ணிவிட்டு ஸோ இது நம்மளுடைய இன்டரப்ட் இல்லை, இந்த நமக்குள்ள அக்னாலஜி இல்லைன்னு சொல்லி அந்த அக்னாலஜை தேர்ட் டிவைஸுக்கு ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணும். ஸோ தேர்ட் டிவைஸ் வந்து அந்த அக்னாலஜை ரிசீவ் பண்ணிவிட்டு இது என்னுடைய அக்னாலேஜ், நான் தான் இன்டரப்ட் ரைஸ் பண்ணேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ப்ராசஸருக்கு ஒரு இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் கொடுக்கும். ஓகே, the module will respond by placing a word on the data line. ஸோ ஒரு வேர்ட் 16-bit டேட்டாவை வந்து டேட்டா லைனில் ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணும். ஸோ the word is known as a vector. அந்த வெக்டார் வந்து ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணும். the vector is the address. Okay, so the vector can be either address of the module or specific identifying number. ஓகே, ஸோ அந்த அக்னாலஜை வந்து ரிசீவ் பண்ணதுக்கப்புறம் அட்ரஸ் பஸ்ஸில் அது டெலிவர் பண்ணோம். இந்த ப்ராசஸர் சப்சிக்வெண்ட்லி டைரக்ட் த மாடியூல் டு இட்ஸ் ஸ்பெசிஃபிக் டிவைஸ் சர்வீஸ் ரொட்டீன் பேஸ்ட் ஆன் த வெக்டார். ஸோ அந்த வெக்டாரை பேஸ் பண்ணி மைக்ரோ ப்ராசஸர் எக்ஸிக்யூட் த ப்ரோக்ராம் ப்ரெசன்ட் இன் அ பர்டிகுலர் vector, that means address. This technique is also known as vector interrupt. Okay, so it completely remove the need for interrupt service routine. So in previous case, the polling method, we need an interrupt service routine, but in this method we don't need any interrupt service routine. So it is directly executed by the address produced by the interrupting device. Okay, nice. Next one is bus arbitration. Okay, bus arbitration. Okay, so in this method which also utilize vector interrupt is bus arbitration. Okay, right. So here this method is involves IO module gaining the control over the bus, therefore requesting the interrupt. Involves IO module gaining the control over the bus. Okay, so this is limited to only one module at the time. Okay, so here only one module requests the interrupt at the time. The processor send the acknowledge signal whatever is delete and detect the interrupt. The requesting module then place its vector on the data lines as like in previous one. So here all the devices are connected in the common bus. So if anyone device initiate the interrupt, then the interrupt acknowledge generated by the processor and it is delivered to the common. Okay, the requesting module then place its vector address after receiving acknowledge. Okay, however when there are multiple interrupt at the single time, there will be a priority method is arranged. Okay, at the same time many device access to interrupt. Okay, at the time the priority is arranged and based on the priority the interrupt is processed. Okay, for example consider a microprocessor having 4 IO device. It is connected in common bus. Okay, so suppose the interrupt is generated. Okay, the interrupt is generated at the time, what will happen? So the microprocessor receives the interrupt request and provide acknowledge signal. That acknowledge signal is sent to all the device. Okay, then the particular device that requests the interrupt, that will produce vector in the bus. Okay, then the particular vector is processed by the microprocessor and it complete the interrupt operations. Suppose 2 device request the interrupt at the same time, then microprocessor process the interrupt based on the priority level. Okay, so this is a bus arbitration vector, so employs a priority scheme. So here we are going to see the summaries of 4 methods. First one, the multiple interrupt line. The processor pick up the interrupt line which highest priority, that is on. Then software poll, the priority is determined by the order in which the module are polled. Okay, DC chaining, the priority is determined by the order in which the modules are polled, that is a hardware poll. Bus arbitration employs a priority scheme. Okay, this is a fixed priority. Okay, right. So this way we can generate the interrupt. And then last one is a DMA, direct memory access. Okay, so direct memory access is completely different from the programmed IO and interrupt driven IO. Okay, so it is a technique for transferring data within a main memory and the external device without passing it through CPU. So previous method பார்த்தீங்கன்னா and programmed IO and interrupt driven IO எல்லாமே CPU வந்து இன்வால்வ் ஆகும். டேட்டா ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபருக்கு எல்லாத்துக்குமே CPU இன்வால்வ் ஆகும். ஓகே, ஆனால் டிஎம்ஐயில் மட்டும் CPU வந்து இன்வால்வ் ஆகாது. ஸோ என்டையர் டேட்டா ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆப்ரேஷன் யார் பார்த்துக்குவோன்னா டிஎம்ஏ பார்த்துக்குவோம். ஓகே, தட் இஸ் அ டைரக்ட் மெமரி ஆக்சஸ் வித்தவுட் CPU. Okay, DMA is a way to improve the processor activity and IO transfer rate by taking over the job of transferring data from processor and letting the processor to do other task. Okay, so DMA data transfer எல்லாத்தையும் பார்த்துக்கிறதுனால ப்ராசஸர் வந்து அதர் ப்ரோக்ராமை எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஸோ while data transferring the processor execute other task. Okay, so this is a direct memory access. Direct memory access now data transfer is without the knowledge of CPU. So that is entirely controlled by the DMA chip, that is a IC. Okay, right. This technique overcome the drawbacks of previous two methods. Okay, so which are the time consuming process. The previous two methods are time consuming process. Okay, so the data transfer tie up with the processor in data transfer while the data processing is neglected. Okay, right. It is more efficient to use DMA method when large volume of data has to be transferred. For example, by using the previous method, if you want to transfer a range of terabyte, okay, so at the time the processor wait for every seconds. Okay, so the data transfer timings is increasing very more. Okay, so to avoid this disadvantage, DMA method is transfer the data very immediately without the knowledge of CPU or without the involvement of CPU. Okay, right. So more efficient to use DMA method when large volume of data has to be transferred. For DMA to be implemented, processor has to share its system bus with the DMA model. The processor has to share its system bus with the DMA model. Therefore, DMA model must use the bus only when the processor does not need it, or it must force the processor to suspend the operation temporarily. Okay, so see, suppose the CPU and a system bus வந்து DMA க்கு கொடுத்துருது. Okay, right. So when the DMA requires the bus, suppose அந்த டைமில் DMA வந்து டேட்டா ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கும்போது CPU வந்து மற்ற ஆப்ரேஷன்ஸ் வந்து எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ணிட்டுருக்கோம். ஓகே, சப்போஸ் CPU அந்த அதர் ஆப்ரேஷனை எக்ஸிக்யூட் பண்ணும்போது அதுக்கு வந்து பஸ் தேவைப்படுது. ஓகே, ரைட். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி பஸ் தேவைப்படும் போது டிஎம்ஏ என்ன பண்ணோன்னா அதனுடைய வேலையை நிறுத்தாது. ஓகே, சிபியூவை உங்களுடைய வேலையை தள்ளி போடுங்க, சஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணி வைங்க, டெம்பரரியாக சஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணி வைங்கன்னு சொல்லி சிபியூ சஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ண வச்சுட்டு இது டேட்டா ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபராக handle பண்ணும். Okay, DMA is a high priority, right? So this is a way the data transfer takes place in microprocessor. So this is a simple block diagram of data direct memory access. See, this is a CPU. Here the central processing unit is present here. So hold and hold acknowledges. There's two signal that is used to system bus. Okay, that is coming from direct memory access. Here is there. So direct memory access controller, DMA-C controller. Okay, here we are using IO interface. This is a memory. All are connected together by using address bus, data bus and control bus. Okay, right. All the devices are connected by using address bus, data bus, control bus. Okay, let us see the process. First one, during a block input byte transfer, the following sequence as the data byte is sent from the interface to memory. The interface sends the DMA controller a request for DMA service. Okay, interface means the IO device send the DMA controller for a DMA service request. ஒரு எக்ஸ்டர்னல் டிவைஸ் இருக்குது, ஐஓ டிவைஸ் இருக்குது, டிஎம்ஏ கண்ட்ரோலருக்கு போயிட்டு ஒரு ரெக்வஸ்ட் பண்ணுது, எங்களுக்கு உங்களுடைய சர்வீஸ் வேணும். ஒரு ஐஓ டிவைஸ் டிஎம்ஏ கண்ட்ரோல்கிட்ட போய் எங்களுக்கு டிஎம்ஏ சர்வீஸ் வேணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ரெக்வஸ்ட் பண்ணுது. ஓகே, இது ஃபஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப். தென் the bus request is made to hold pin active high on 886 microprocessor and the controller gain control of the bus. For example, first step, so this is IO interface. The IO interface requests the DMA to for a service. Okay, எப்படி நம்ம வந்து டூரிஸ்ட் பஸ் புக் பண்ணுறோம் இல்லையா, அதே போல் தான். ஓகே, நம்ம போய் ஆஃபீஸில் போய் பஸ் புக் பண்ணுறோம். அதே மாதிரி ஐஓ டிவைஸ் டிஎம்ஐக்கு எங்களுடைய சர்வீஸ் எங்களுக்கு வேணும்னு சொல்லி ஒரு ரெக்வஸ்ட் பண்ணுது. ஓகே, அண்ட் செகண்ட் ஸ்டெப் என்ன பண்ணுது, ஸோ இந்த டிஎம்ஐ டேரெக்டாக என்ன பண்ணுதுன்னா ஒரு ஹோல்டு சிக்னலை ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணுது. ஓகே, ஸோ செகண்ட் ஸ்டேஜ் இந்த டிஎம்ஐ ஆக்டிவ் ஹை ஹோல்டு சிக்னல் ஜென்ரேட் பண்ணுறது. எதுக்காகனா சிஸ்டம் பஸ்ஸை வந்து நாங்கள் யூஸ் பண்ண போகிறோம் அப்படின்னு மைக்ரோ ப்ராசஸ்கிட்ட சொல்லுது. ஓகே, ரைட். இந்த பஸ் ரெக்வஸ்ட் இஸ் மேட் பை ஹோல்டு பின். ஓகே, அதான் பஸ் ரெக்வஸ்ட். நாங்கள் பஸ்ஸை வந்து யூஸ் பண்ண போகிறோம், சிஸ்டம் பஸ்ஸை யூஸ் பண்ண போகிறோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ப்ராசஸருக்கு இது வந்து ஒரு ரெக்வஸ்ட் பண்ணுது. எப்படி ரெக்வஸ்ட் பண்ணுது? பை யூஸிங் ஹோல்டு பின். ஓகே, ஹோல்ட் சிக்னல். ரைட். After that, the microprocessor receives the hold pin and it will generate the hold acknowledge. After receiving the hold acknowledge, the DMA controller gain the bus. Okay, right. A bus grant is returned to DMA. See, the bus grant signal is returned to DMA controller from hold acknowledge pin. Okay, on the 886 microprocessor. So ஒரு ஐஓ டிவைஸ் வந்து டிஎம்ஏ ரெக்வஸ்ட் பண்ணுது, டிஎம்ஏ ப்ராசஸரை ரெக்வஸ்ட் பண்ணி எங்களுக்கு பஸ் வேணும் அப்படின்னு கேட்குது. ஸோ ப்ராசஸர் அந்த ஹோல்டு சிக்னலுக்குள்ள அக்னாலஜி ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணுது. ஸோ பஸ் கிராண்டட் அப்படின்னு ஹோல்டு அக்னாலஜி ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணுது. ஓகே, டிஎம்ஏ கண்ட்ரோலர் பிளேஸ் த கண்டென்ட் ஆஃப் த அட்ரஸ் ரெஜிஸ்டர் இந்த அட்ரஸ் பஸ். ஸோ இப்போ பஸ்ஸை வந்து நம்ம வாங்கியாச்சு, டிஎம்ஏ கண்ட்ரோலர். இப்போ பஸ் வந்து டிஎம்ஏ கண்ட்ரோலருக்கு கீழே வந்துச்சு. நவ் இந்த டிஎம்ஏ கண்ட்ரோலர் load the address in address bus to access the data. The controller send the interface a DMA acknowledgement which tells the interface to put data on the data bus. Okay, so the address and the address bus load பண்ணிட்டு then the controller send the interface, that means IO interface for DMA. Okay, so the controller send the interface a DMA acknowledgement and which tell the interface to put data on data bus. So address load பண்ணதுக்கப்புறம் கண்ட்ரோலர் இன்டர்ஃபேஸ்ட டேட்டாவை லோட் பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்லி ஒரு அக்னாலஜ் கொடுக்குது. அதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த டேட்டா பைட்ஸ் ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் டு த மெமரி லொக்கேஷன் இண்டிகேட்டட் பை த அட்ரஸ் பஸ். ஸோ அந்த ஐஓ இன்டர்ஃபேஸ் தென் டேட்டாவை டேட்டா பஸ்ஸில் லோட் பண்ணுது. தென் த டேட்டா இஸ் ஸ்டோர்டு இன் மெமரி. எங்கே போய் ஸ்டோர் பண்ணுது? எந்த லொக்கேஷனில் ஸ்டோர் பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லி அட்ரஸ் பஸ்ஸில் அட்ரஸ் இருக்கோ அந்த லொக்கேஷனில் மெமரி ஸ்டோர் ஆகுது. ஓகே, த இன்டர்ஃபேஸ் latch the data. Okay, then the interface in the data will latch one. Okay, then the bus sequence is dropped. So now the data transfer is completed. Okay, so the data is stored in a memory. So the data transfer is completed. So the bus request is dropped. So bus request அதாவது டிஎம்ஏ ப்ராசஸர்கிட்ட ஒரு ரெக்வஸ்ட் பண்ணிச்சு இல்லையா, அந்த ரெக்வஸ்ட் வந்து ட்ராப் பண்ணுது. அந்த ஹோல்டு பின் கோஸ் லோ. ஸோ இந்த ஹோல்டு பின் வந்து கோஸ் லோ. ஹோல்டு பின் ஹையாக இருந்துச்சுன்னா பஸ் வேணும்னு அர்த்தம், ஹோல்டு பின் லோ ஆச்சுன்னா பஸ் வேண்டாம், எங்களுக்கு ஒர்க் முடிஞ்சது அப்படின்னு அர்த்தம். ஓகே, அண்ட் த கண்ட்ரோலர் ரிலீஸ் த பஸ். ஓகே, then the bus grant from the 886 microprocessor is dropped. The microprocessor வந்து bus grant பண்ணிச்சு இல்லையா, ஸோ இப்போ வந்து bus grant ட்ராப் பண்ணிடுச்சு. ஸோ ஹோல்ட் அக்னாலஜி வந்து 0 ஆயிடுது. ஓகே, ஆக்டிவ் லோ, தட் இஸ் 0. The address register is incremented by 1. Then the byte count is decremented by 1. If the byte count is non-zero, then return to step 1, otherwise stop. ஸோ இப்போ எத்தனை பைட் ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணுறோம்? 100 பைட்ஸ் இருக்குது அப்படின்னா இது ஒரு பைட் இப்போ ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகிடுச்சு. இப்போ வந்து என்ன பண்ணுறோம், அட்ரஸ் ரெஜிஸ்டர் வந்து டிக்ரிமெண்டட் பை 1, ஒரு டைம் அட்ரஸ் குறையுது. தென் the count register decremented by 1, the count byte count is also decremented by 1. Now we are having the 99 bytes. Then this process is repeated from the step 1. If the count value is 100, all the bytes are transferred, means then the process is stopped. Okay, so this is a DMA controller. Okay, right. So DMA controller transfer the data between memory and IO device without any knowledge of CPU. Okay, that is a direct memory access. Okay, let us see one animation video so you can easily understand about DMA.
On direct memory access. Accessing memory directly sounds appealing. Let's try to understand the concept. We know that there is a latency or delay in the speed with which CPU executes the instructions and the speed with which the memory device serves CPU. This gap in the speed leads to a wastage of CPU time or cycles while interacting with the memory device like hard disk, especially for data transfer. Can we have some strategy to overcome this problem? Certainly yes. One of the most basic techniques is to let CPU to offload intensive memory access tasks to another component called DMA controller. This approach then frees the CPU from these memory-bound tasks and provides more cycles to CPU-bound tasks for which it is better suited. But what is a DMA controller? Simply speaking, DMA controller is a special purpose processor which is used to ensure the completion of the I/O request with least intervention of CPU. But how this coordination between CPU and DMA controller happens? Good point to explore. Let's consider a scenario. Say we want to input large amount of data from a device, say a DVD reader. To execute this memory access by DMA mechanism, the operating system configures the DMA controller with the address of the source, that is the DVD reader, the initial memory address from where input has to be taken, and total number of bytes to be input. Once configured with required information, the DMA controller would notify the CPU to release its control over the data bus to access the DVD reader directly for read purpose. This mechanism of stealing the data bus from the CPU and using the data bus for the data transfer between the memory and the I/O devices is called as cycle stealing. Once the DMA controller gets control over data bus, it reads the device, that is the DVD reader, for the total number of bytes to input. So what happens once the data transfer operation completes using DMA? At the end of the data transfer, DMA controller generates an interrupt request to intimate the CPU about completion of data transfer. Such interrupts indicate completion of data transfer, and hence the CPU will take back the control of data bus, which completes the direct memory access. Let's summarize the steps. Initially, DMA controller requests data bus control from CPU. Identifying a memory read request, the CPU grants the data bus control to the DMA controller and resumes to some other critical task. To this, the DMA controller acknowledge data bus grant to CPU. Finally, DMA controller reads device and writes to memory. At the end, the DMA controller generates an interrupt request to tell the CPU.
Okay students, now you are clear with DMA data transfer. Okay, by this time this session is completed, so you can understand this session. I hope you are all understand and you have a notes about this session. Okay, right. Thanks for watching. So please share this video with your friends and subscribe this channel and put like. Thank you so much.